Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 5, Chapter 20. Undernourishment and the Cure. We hear many people lamenting the state of affairs and talking of the spread of injustice and falsehood, of cruelty and hatred in the world and in this country. This is like shouting for a drug after the illness has set in. Prevention is much more beneficial than cure. Sometimes the cure is rendered more difficult on account of the complications due to long neglect. The present decline in morality is due to decreasing faith in the Vedas, Shastras, and Upanishads in our country. Some people are in the habit of condemning all those who do not believe in the Vedic Dharma as atheists. But there are no atheists at all among men. An atheist, when he declares there is no God, is first affirming there is, and then denying something that he has affirmed. Though he may deny God, he does not deny love or reverence or wonder or awe. These are all expressions of theistic faith. The atheists, too, yearn for a goal. They remember a place from where they came, though like all others they are unable to locate it. They know they are proceeding to a place where they get full happiness. They pine for it. They dream about it. They have their plans for reaching it. They have, like all others, the hunger, the pain, the discontent. Just as the doctor diagnoses the origin of the pain, the aspirant goes on to a guru who is an expert in the different forms of mental yearning for the goal. Everyone feels the urge to see and know unity where there is multiplicity. This knowledge is contained in the Brahma Sutra, which, like a string, penetrates all the different beads of the same rosary. There are different approaches to God. All the thousands of individuals here before me now are so many thousand flowers strung on that one thread, Brahman. In Brahman, you all find unity, the unity you have missed because you were engrossed in your own separateness. That is the truth. All else is delusion. You have let this unity go unnoticed because the men who know it are neglected. Their declarations are dismissed as depraved. There is no dearth of sustaining spiritual food in our country, but yet we have this pitiable spectacle of a people starving in the midst of plenty. The ills of the country are due to undernourishment. Not so much undernourishment of the body, but undernourishment of the spirit, want of spiritual exercise, neglect of spiritual regimen. Allowing the malady the fullest scope, people are engaged in reciting the names of the drugs in the pharmacopoeia. They do not make any attempt to take the drug in, the means of conveying into every home and village the life-giving waters of the spirit have all dried up, or got choked up. That is the reason why undernourishment, with all its attendant symptoms of debility, nervous disorder, and mania, is so rampant today. Matam is a matter of mati. Religion is a matter of the intelligence. Unless you are able to equalize intelligence, you cannot equalize religions. There are different approaches to God for different matis, suited to the likes and dislikes of individual temperaments. Some are work-minded, some are contemplative, some are exterior-orientated, some are prone to examine the inner consciousness more than the external. There are disciplines suited for each of them in the Sanatana ancient scriptures: Bhakti, Jnana, Karma, Upasana, Yoga, etc. The milk in which butter is immanent, implicit in every particle, in every molecule, is the one. The curd into which it is broken by fermentation has the butter separate, but yet as part, that is the one, with the second as an integral part of it. Vishishta Advaita, qualified non-dualism. The churning separates the butter clearly and it is rolled into a ball. It is kept floating in the liquid form which it has been taken. The two have become clearly distinguishable. They are spoken of as two, Dvaita, dualism. These are but three names for three stages of the same substance. People should strengthen the hands of Pandits. The one is the reality. It is not to be found exclusively in one place only, however hoary the place. Neither Arunachalam, nor Tirupati, nor Kedaram can claim to be the place where it is to be found. Its address is given in the 61st sloka of the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in the heart of all. Pandits who are versed in the sacred scriptures of this land are the real leaders of the people, for they can show the real path of self-realization, which is the highest duty of man. They must, as the sages and scholars of old used to do, counsel the rulers and guide them in the path of Dharma. But now the rulers keep them afar, while the people shower ridicule on them. If they now cater to the low demands of the rulers, they will degrade the ideals which they must cherish and promote. It requires a great deal of integrity and courage for them to escape the temptations of the situation and stand firm on the principles laid down for them in the Shastras. Hence, there is not much hope of the Pandits being used by the rulers. There is every chance of the Pandits themselves losing their grip over fundamentals if they approach the rulers for patronage. So, the people themselves have to take up the task of strengthening the hands of the Pandits and of deriving the utmost benefit out of these repositories of ancient learning. Faith in Almighty is the strongest foundation. The Pandits themselves are a divided lot. They have lost the capacity for united effort. I am speaking so plainly here, for this Konasima is the nursery of many learned Pandits. My task is to bring together the Pandits and make them aware of their noble heritage and their still nobler duty to develop contact with the rulers who will benefit by the impartial wisdom of the Shastras and the Upanishads and the Vedas, seen and recorded by masters of detachment, and thus establish peace and harmony in the world. I will certainly succeed, only you have to be patient for some time. The mansion called life must be built on strong foundations. The pursuit of artha and kama, of wealth and welfare, of all desirable objects must be regulated by the standard of dharma. Dharma fosters those who foster it. Dharmo rakshati rakshita. The strongest foundation is ever-present faith in the Almighty. Some may ask, if He is the Almighty, why then is He not patent? Well, He reveals Himself only to the person who yearns for the answer, not the one who puts questions out of impudence or ignorance. He will be patent only in the transparent heart, the heart that is not clouded by egoism or objective attachment. The string of the rosary is patent only in the spatika or the crystal beads, not on the coral or the rudraksha beads, though the string runs through these latter also. It can be seen only by splitting those beads. That is the meaning of the story of Hiranyakashipu, who split the pillar. When he did that, he could see for himself the Lord, who is in the core of every object and being. Coconut breaking is the symbol for destroying the ego. Try to break the coconut as it comes from the tree. The shell is covered compactly by a coat of fiber. You cannot break the nut by hitting it even with a crowbar. Take off the fibrous armor and breaking it is very easy. When you take a coconut to be offered in the temple, you take it after removing the fiber. Then you offer it to God, breaking it into two halves. This is the symbol for destroying the ego and surrendering to the Lord. So you have to remove the fiber of desire for sense objects and then go before the Lord devoid of karma and krodha, desire and anger. There you declare that you are egoless by breaking the coconut into two. You will be accepted then, not before. This conquest of the ego is a very hard task. Years of persistent effort are needed to get success in this endeavor. For getting a degree, you struggle in the university for a number of years, poring over books night and day. How much more difficult is this examination, success in which guarantees lasting happiness and escape from the weary round of birth and death? Some people have their minds and senses like cotton balls, and a spark of jnana will set them ablaze and they achieve victory. Some others have them like dry faggots. They take longer time, but victory is certain. Most have minds and senses like green fuel, and even the raging fire of jnana may be put out by the onslaught of the moisture contained in them. Make your mind and senses like clean, finely ginned cotton. How can you do this? By contact with scholars and those who have experience in spiritual practice, like these pandits here. Listen to them, revolve their teachings in the depths of your memory, practice what they advise, yield gladly to their guidance. Start now. Scholarship starts with the alphabet. Learn A and B, C and D and go on until the end. The margosa fruit may taste bitter at first, but there are many who enjoy eating it, for steady practice makes them sweet to the tongue, especially when you get convinced that they are good for curing illness. Success or failure is your own making. For example, when you sing Namavalis, songs containing Lord's names, try to roll on your tongue the sweetness of the meaning also. On the basis of the material, you can ascend to the spiritual. Only you must know that it is possible and develop the faith that removes all hesitation. When you sing of Radha as you did just now, Radha Madhava Nandalala, do not imagine that Radha is a woman and Krishna is a man. You can become Radha now, here, if only you know what Radha represents. She is the basis, Adhara, which is worshipped. Arad, as ever-flowing stream. Dhara, she is the very basis of the world, which is another name for God Himself. Have it as a dhara flowing from your tongue. The name of the Lord, avoid all lesser talk. On the ocean of milk, the Shira Sagara of the pure mind, plant the peak of Mandara, steady faith in the unity of creation. Take the serpent, grace of the Lord, Ishvara Anugraham, and use it as a rope to churn the ocean, churn it through meditation and spiritual discipline. Dhyana and sadhana, then you are able to acquire the nectar, the essence of Veda, of spiritual knowledge, of spiritual experience. The Lord is impartial. You punish yourself, you reward yourself. A young student who was nervous about the examination in the English language went to a temple and prayed to God for making the questions easy for him. He promised in exchange a Thanksgiving feast. It happened so, and he could answer all the questions to his entire satisfaction in half the time allotted for the purpose. He did not give in the answer sheets immediately. He called for extra sheets and wrote down a list of articles he must purchase for offering the Thanksgiving feast to God. Jaggery, rice, cardamom, ghee, etc. He had many more minutes at his disposal. He noted down the cost, and finding it beyond him, he revised the list and found many items which he could score off. While busy with his flippant assignment, the bell rang and the supervisor ran up to him to collect the answer sheets. In the hurry of the moment, he handed over the sheets whereon he had written the list of articles and through sheer miserliness, scored out most of the items. So the young man failed. It was all his doing. God is impartial. He is like the thermometer that you cannot misinterpret or exaggerate or falsify. Success or failure is your own making. You decide your destiny. Your Lord has no share in deciding it. You have the appetite for spiritual truth. It is already very late. You have to go to your places. There are many old people, women, and children among you. I can understand the trouble you have undergone out of your love for me, coming long distances, walking or journeying by boat or bullock cart, denying yourselves food, sleep, and rest, struggling even for drinking water and a little shade under a tree. Seeing this vast ocean of humanity, one gets assured of the value, the continuing value of the heritage of Bharatavarsha. You have moved en masse from your villages like ants from ant hills. Why? Because you have the hunger for God, the appetite for spiritual truth. I must tell you one thing now, for this has grown into quite a sensation, especially in East Godavari around Amalapuram. I am not blaming anyone or laughing at anyone, but the truth must be made public. There are quite a few who declare that I am coming upon them, possessing them rather, and they sway, shake, and shiver and say all kinds of things, claiming that I am speaking through them or that they are under my influence. They answer questions and foretell things and perform many tricks to collect money or things from people who do not know me and my reality. All this is sheer deceit. It is a disease that is spreading. Do not encourage it. Nip it wherever you see cases of people suffering from it. Such people have agents and brokers. Scorch them first, and their puppets will disappear. They wear the dress of holiness, but their greed announces them as vile. People say Baba appeared to me in a dream and commanded me to do this and that to you, to collect so much from you, etc. Do not give heed to such cheats. Punish them in the way they deserve. That is the advice I have to give you. Amalapuram, March 29th, 1965. It is easy to conquer anger through love, attachment through reasoning, falsehood through truth, bad thoughts through good, and greed through charity. Sri Sathya Sai Baba.